The sound. Awake with the sounds of the silence that allows for my mind to run around with my ear up to the ground. I'm searching to behold the stories that I told when my back is to the world that was smiling when I turned. Tell you you're the greatest, but once you turn they hate us. Oh, the misery. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Spare the sympathy. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Look out for yourself. My enemy. Look out for yourself. But I'm ready. Your words up on the wall as you're praying for my phone, and the laughter in the holes and the names that I've been called. I stack it in my mind and I'm waiting for the time when I show you what it's like to be worse fit in a mind. Tell you you're the greatest, but once you turn they hate us. Oh, the misery. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Spare the sympathy. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Look out for yourself. My enemy. Look out for yourself. They say pray away. I swear that I'll never be a saint. No way. A chair in the corner is my place. I stay, I shake, and I think about the powers at play. The powers at play. And the kids in the dark that were doomed from the start. The child in the basement, face of the pavement. Oh, what a statement. Love is embracement. Love is a constant. Love is a basis. He cannot be, she cannot be, they cannot be changed. But keep on praying. Goodbye. Oh, the misery. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Spare the sympathy. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Oh, the misery. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Spare the sympathy. Everybody wants to be my enemy. My enemy. I'll never be a saint. Look out for yourself.
Hey everybody, it's Nikki Darling. Oh, wow. Happy Friday. Thank goodness it is Friday. Welcome into the What's Up Wenatchee podcast. That was Imagine Dragons. See, I still listen to like top 40 music, everybody. I might not be on top 40 radio anymore, but I do listen to it. Enemy. Everybody wants to be my enemy. Seems that way sometimes, doesn't it, guys? That everybody wants to be your enemy, especially if like you're out there doing well. If you are doing things and a mover and a shaker and accomplishing things, you seem to have you seem to get pushback and get the haters come out of the woodwork. That's like the story of my career, I think. And so I heard that early this morning on my drive, and it just resonated with me, and I wanted to start the show with that. We have a really packed show today. We're broadcasting from Earth Naturopathic, which is right in Wenatchee off of Mission. And people are, it's, an up and running naturopathic clinic. So they're going to be out and about. And there's Chloe, the dog, who loves giving kisses. So and I'm like kind of close to the ground. I'm sitting on a pillow. So she might come over and get some pets, which is totally okay with me. So we're here, and I'm going to show you around a little bit. I'm actually hanging out in the Flower Lounge. I will show you the other
camera,
so that you can get a. Let me mute this. Mute. There we go. This is the Flower Lounge. That's the front desk at Earth and Naturopathic, Dr. Terra Winston. This is where we're broadcasting from today's totally cute place. Very serene vibe. Those are all their flower essences that I think Dr. Terra is going to come on in just a bit and explain what all of this is. And they have a biomed room back there, which they're going to explain, and a gut health course, which I think I need to get into like yesterday. And she'll tell us all about all of their services, and it's more educational here, which is, I know we see all of these nice flower essences and electrolytes and all of that, but it's less patient clinical here and more patient educational. She has really spent most of her career dedicated to educating the general public about seeking more natural methods to their healthcare and everyday healthcare, and like integrating it into their everyday health, and not seeking prescriptions, or not seeking, I don't know, just they call it the medical matrix. So getting out of the medical matrix. So we'll talk to them. And we're also, it's just kind of this crossover, small town, small world, big hearts. Her counterpart here at Earth Chiropractic is chiropractic. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Earth Naturopathic is Lacy Watson, and they are a dynamic duo here in the actual education and the training. They actually call it training and not just education, because they're training you to live in and execute a better behaviors into your own lifestyle. I mean, that's my basic understanding. I'll get a more understanding of their naturopathic training and courses, but Lacy Watson helps her. But another thing that Lacy is into outside of her naturopathic coaching is she's an advocate in the area of anti-sex trafficking. I know it's totally a 180, but that is one of her passions in life, is to end sex trafficking of mainly of children. So there's an event that is coming up this week that is supposed to help educate, again, with the education in our community, about what is going on, and how we can get involved, and how the general public can help to end this epidemic. Actually, it is seriously an epidemic that is happening right here. So not that it's funny, and not that I want to laugh about it, because it's a serious issue that I think people need to know about. So we'll talk to Lacy about her involvement, not only here at Earth Naturopathic, but also in the event coming up on Tuesday. She's involved in a lot. She also is involved with Alethea, who that they also have an event coming up. Is it tonight? That Kentucky Derby fundraiser for Alethea Riding Center is tonight, and she's involved in that too. So a good group of people in this building. And then I have, I'm actually going to start off today's show with a pre-recorded interview with a really busy lady, Carmen Som, who is the owner-operator over at Humblebee Collective. She oversees herself, who does Thai yoga massage, Jason Underwood, who's Accutone, acupressure, acupuncture, and then Megan Wild, who does a lot of energy work, crystal energy work. So that's Humblebee Collective. We'll learn more about them. She's busy on Fridays, so it's hard to. That 1 week we did a show at Humblebee, which was nice, but I wanted to get her retrospective of being really super involved with swap meet. So we kind of reflected on what it was like for that whole weekend and preparing. So we'll watch that interview that we did just a couple of days ago. So before I get into any of that, we started the show with I played the Imagine Dragons Enemy song, and it's the lyrics are everybody wants to be my enemy. Oh, the misery. Everybody wants to be my enemy. And I have been struggling somewhat with just getting on like this podcast and just being free to kind of say what I want and talk about what I want and actually like censoring myself, which is so weird because the whole reason that I started doing What's Up Wenatchee was because I wanted to say what I want in the way that I wanted to say it. Now I find myself censoring myself. And why do I do that? Is because I start getting like negative feedback, or I start getting haters. There are haters out there. and I don't like getting that feedback. So I naturally start to modify what I say or the way I say it. And then I just start to realize like, no, I don't want to do that. And so this is my whole part of like self-reflection and my own spirituality, my own emotional growth, is taking a look at, well, if I don't want to censor myself, if I don't want to modify, what do I do? I have to realize that those feelings are coming from fear, right? If people are giving me hate, shade, if people are throwing shade at me or at you, it's usually because of jealousy, intimidation, envy, and I actually, when I think about it, I think those are pretty natural instincts, and I have those instincts. I get jealous, I get envious, I get frustrated. I know in my heart of hearts, I want to see other people succeed. I want to see other people do well. I want the best for them. I want them to feel contentment and serenity in their life. But I'm a human being, right? I'm a human being. So if I see somebody have success, my immediate gut reaction is probably going to be a little bit of jealousy. Oh man. Like, yeah, that I kind of wish that was me, or how did they get that? And the thing I have to realize is those two feelings can exist at the same time. I can feel a little like a little jealous and feel happy for that person at the same time. And also, I don't have to give in to my initial gut instinct and reaction. If my initial gut instinct is to feel a little bit of jealousy, that's okay, because we're human beings and we can't actually control our instinct, our gut instinct. But what I've learned that I can control is what I do with it after that. And I think most people just give into it, and they don't ever realize that they can choose what they do with their feelings after they have them. You can choose what you do with your feelings after you have your feelings. As soon as you start trying in life, people will attempt to stop you because of this reason. Because they don't ever get past that jealousy and choose to pick a different feeling and choose to go, no, I'm going to feel happy for that person, or I'm going to feel proud of that person. They just stay in that jealousy and that envy. They will attempt to stop you because of that. Even your supporters, even the people who are behind you, 100%. But remember this. You must be tested to reach your full potential. I'm going to say it again. You must be tested to reach your full potential. If it's easy peasy lemon squeezy all the way, it wasn't hard enough. Go back, try again. Make the goal a little bit higher. Make a bigger ambition. You're not dreaming high enough. If you are not being tested, if it is not hard, you are not reaching your full potential. If you do not have haters, you're not reaching your full potential. So thank you, haters. Thank you. Because you test me. And you test my integrity every single day. And I love it. Speaking of integrity, nope, I don't want to talk about that right now. It's too hard. It's too hard. If Grayson was here, he would say, talk about the hard things, Nikki. Just talk about the hard things. We do miss you, Grayson. We do. I'm going to skip talking about this, but I will tell you that this past week was the 1-year anniversary of the day that my mom passed away. And that was extremely difficult. The end. I did want to talk about it a little bit. I just don't want to talk about it right now. And I volunteered for Trenton's picture day. And he completely kicked picture day's butt. So I'm going to upload the actual picture from picture day so you can see it. He looks like a friggin' rock star. So I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that while we get into Carmen's interview. So right now, I got a chance to sit down for a little bit with Carmen Som. She's the owner-operator of Humblebee Humblebee Collective. She used to be on her own solo, and now she's got a team. And I love that. She's growing. She's expanding. She does Thai yoga massage. She's got Megan Wild and Jason Underwood, and they all together make up the Humblebee Collective. They're down on Second, yeah. Right in the back alley there. It's a really cool spot. They make the vibe very cool and serene, but it's kind of goes in with what we're doing here at the Naturopathic clinic here, Earth Naturopathic. It's like, it's not hippy dippy flippy stuff, guys. This is trying to really treat your body mind better and just integrate that into your everyday life. And I feel like I'm kind of just an everyday weirdo, and I have been trying to do this more, right? And share the experiences with you and come set up my weird setup in these places to show that it's very accessible. the Humblebee Collective is very accessible. Earth Naturopathic, very accessible place. The Smart Nutrition, where over in East Wenatchee on Valley Mall Parkway, with the protein, the meal replacement protein drinks, and the protein coffee, and the energy teas. They're all very accessible places that you can integrate into your life to replace and modify what you're already doing. So I'm here to just be a conduit for the message. So I want to get this interview up, and so you can listen to Miss Carmen Som. And she starts off by reflecting. The other computer's over here. That's why you see me doing this. So she starts off by reflecting about her experience as a sponsor for the Washington State swap meet. And she was one of the early hop-ons for a sponsor, and she just really embraced the experience. So let's get her interview up and running. For your 5-year process now, tell you how much further along place in my mind, like I'm much more comfortable, like with the mess that's in there. All right, we're taking a break here on the What's Up Wenatchee program to stop down and talk with Carmen Som from the Humblebee Collective and get her recap, her reflection on what it was like for her as a sponsor, a vendor, a participant, a friend, a supporter of the Washington State swap meet. We're, I guess, just about out, a few weeks out now. So we've all had a chance to recoup and hopefully recharge from that experience. So first off, I just, I want to say thank you for hopping on board and believing in the mission of swap meet, and you were, man, you really, like, once you signed on, you hit the ground running. We're like, yes, we're doing this. I see the value. I want to be out there and get my team out there.
Yeah.
What was it about swap meet that drew you in?
Well, I think that I had an understanding, or at least a confidence in you, that it was going to be a lot like Pride,
Yeah.
in the sense that it was going to be a very community focused event for the community, from the community. So I was on board with that because I really enjoyed going to Pride and seeing all of the vendors that were from here and were here to support Wenatchee and everything that we do. And so I knew that that was going to be the focus, which is what our entire philosophy is at Humblebee Collective, is to support the community that we live in and the people that are here.
Yeah, because that's really what I wanted to know from you, because people it was just such a learning curve,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They were like, what is a swap meet? What do we expect when we show up? Who are vendors going to be? Who can sign up? And I was like a chicken without a head, going around going, it's everything.
It's everything.
It's whatever you want it to be. It can be, you can swap, you could trade, you could sell, you could give, you could donate, you could have an experience, you can promote, you can engage, whatever you want to do within your space, just make it your own.
Yeah.
And you did that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I had a lot of fun creating that environment. We had to be thrifty about it to a degree, obviously, and creative, really. Like, we had to just kind of envision, like, what would I want to walk into off the street?
Yeah.
And, what's going to be comfortable? What's going to be realistic? We had to be very cautious of hygiene. We still are, we're out of the COVID range, but we're not quite. And so we wanted to make it very clear, that the space that we were providing was going to be a safe space for people to come into, and nothing that they had to be fearful of, because we're bodies contacting other bodies. And so that was one side of it, but then we didn't factor in how warm it was gonna be. And so
I mean, you couldn't really even
no,
know,
we had
you
no
know?
idea, and that it's so funny the season that changes from it was still technically summer, and I don't know what it is, like, we always think that September is, like, automatically gonna cool down,
No.
and it's not. It's still super hot all the time. I always have I have a yard I've had a yard sale, like, every year for the last, like, 6 years since I've lived here, and it's either mine or somebody else's or a combination of, like, other
Right.
people's things, and I've done it all throughout, spring into summer into fall, and I remember I did one a couple years ago at the end of September, and it was still, like, 80 degrees outside.
Uh,
So I don't know what I was thinking, that it was gonna cool down. I should have had more fans and things like that, but because we were being hygienic, we had these vinyl coverings on our tables and on my mat, and that honestly traps heat into that space.
oh,
And
no.
what Megan and Jason were doing, which is very, like, calm and, like, hands-on bodies or not on bodies, ooh, breathing and meditating, like, that's fine. All they had to deal with was the environment around them and the air circulating around them, but I'm on the earth, and I'm moving bodies, and
Uh,
I'm stretching bodies, and so I got overheated. I really did that last day, and I felt the product of that throughout the rest of the week. So as far as, like, we're 3 weeks out and we're in recovery, I actually did have to have, like, a recovery period.
sure.
Yeah.
You and me both, girl. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
My body was
Mhm.
feeling it. It was like,
Mhm.
I was as we were leading up to it, I was telling everybody, I'm like, "This is like my Super Bowl. This is my Super
It's
Bowl."
huge.
And afterwards, I felt like I had played in the Super
Mhm.
Bowl.
Mhm.
My body was like, "Wow, did I just get, hit by
Mhm.
a I don't know, a sack or something." I just yeah, I'm still pretty sore, but totally worth it,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I think a lot of adrenaline was, like, pumps you through the weekend to get you through it
Yeah.
because you are engaging with so many people,
Mhm.
and, when I there was one point during the weekend where I was like or leading up to the weekend, we had talked about your booth and your lead up and your setup, and I said, "Yeah, you guys might not be selling things in a
Mhm.
traditional fashion or even swapping things in a traditional fashion, but you're, like, swapping energy."
Yeah.
And that was such a cool thought to me that, you could swap stories, you can swap energy, you could swap experience, you could trade information, that was just and it added another kind of level to the whole swap meet vibe that I was really intending to do, and I'm glad that you saw that vision and brought that there, even though you are you know, it was hot and you were physically moving people's bodies, and that was slightly uncomfortable.
I loved it though. It was definitely an opportunity for people to experience something that they definitely have never experienced before. So what I do is Thai yoga massage,
Right?
and that's not something that's very prominent in the valley. It's a little bit more on the west side. That's where I got my training. So there's a lot more people over there who know what that is.
Do you think people are starting to come around to what it is?
Yeah, yeah. I definitely have people who call me specifically looking for Thai. So they're hearing about it and they're understanding, oh, there's somebody in the valley who does that. I want to get on board. So that's good that people know that, and then it was also nice to introduce people in the valley to it, and people who have never heard of it before, who didn't understand what it was, and
Yeah.
it's not a scary thing. I mean, it's just it's a traditional.
Scary. Why would it be
Yeah.
scary?
People when people hear Thai yoga, when they hear the word yoga,
Right.
they think that they themselves have to be flexible and they themselves have to be, strong and, that I'm just not very flexible. That's the biggest thing I hear. Or I'm so stiff, I can't get into that position. Well, that's the whole point is that I'm gonna get you in that position.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm gonna put you into a space that is comfortable and safe for you and just a tiny bit beyond what you can do for yourself. And that's where we have growth, right?
Mm.
That's where we have progression. And so, yeah, it was great to be able to explain that to people and to show them like there is an option for you. I had a lot of really good interactions with women, with mothers, And that was very, like, soul warming for me to
Yeah.
to work with women who were in a position that I was in at a very young mother age. I had my son when I was 24,
Ooh.
and just to see them, that we have all this stress and, like, grandma's hanging out with the kid while I'm trying to, like, relax in the middle of a field, in the middle of a tent,
Right.
it's like, ugh, and it was nice to be able to give them a reprieve,
Even if
just a
it's like
little
10.
bit, and
Yes, I
yeah.
totally get that.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's like you have one ear trying to listen for whether your kid's, like, shrieking shrill, because grandma's watching them a few stalls down, but you really are trying to get 5 minutes of peace.
Yeah, and a lot of people came away just, like, you could see that, like
Uh,
something had, like, evaporated from them. They kinda just have this, like, their heart's a little bit more open, their back's a little bit less, you know, congested, their shoulders are lower, they're kind of loose here, and it's so rewarding to
mhm.
be able to give that gift. So,
I love hearing stories like that about swap meet. I feel like I should almost write a book
yeah.
because there's so many of these little awesome, heartwarming stories about, I don't know, people's experiences, people that they've met. There was a kid who bought a pair of 10-cent colored pencils. Did you hear this story?
No.
Oh, 10-cent colored pencils, and he was trying to see how much he could swap up, how high he could swap up to he really wanted these an air sprayer to do art. What do
Okay.
they call that?
Oh gosh. I know exactly what you're saying. I watched Glow Up.
I don't
Oh!
know what, you know what I'm talking about
Yeah,
though,
yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Mhm,
arts air
mhm,
sprayer, whatever
mhm,
they are.
mhm.
So they were there, and he ended up, like, I have to find the whole series of swaps,
Yeah,
because he
yeah,
went from
what a cute
10-cent pencils to, like, different jewelry, and he swapped all the way up to this thing that he wanted
it could
all
be
day
like a
long.
children's book.
I
Yeah.
know, but there's great the whole weekend was full of great heartwarming stories like that, so I love hearing
Mhm,
just stuff like that,
mhm,
and because swap meet isn't a I mean, great if swap meet isn't just about making money,
mm-mm.
right? If it was just about making money, I wouldn't do it because
Yeah.
that's not really what I'm about, right?
Mhm,
I'm about creating experiences, creating positivity, creating a better community for us to live in. And I honestly always was like, Swap Meet is about you guys.
mhm.
Like, it's about the small businesses. It's about those traveling vendors. It's about our businesses, organizations, and nonprofits that want to come out and promote and engage. And prior to Swap Meet happening, you did a run through of in your backyard of
Yeah.
setting up all the tents and everything, and me and my kiddo, my husband came, and, like, I was, like, in tears over it. I
Oh,
was like, "Oh, look at them, they're getting ready for smoke," and it
yeah.
was because you were taking it seriously.
Mhm, yeah.
And
I mean, it's my
I know
business,
but
right?
I
It's
know that
yeah,
sounds silly, but
yeah,
Swap
it
Me is
felt
my
good.
business, right?
Mhm.
And,
Yeah. No, I
seeing
wanted you to
somebody.
see that. I wanted you to be included in well, generally because I consider you a good friend and you hadn't been out to my home
Mm,
yet, and I love sharing that space with people, right? I
yeah,
love just like, "Come, just feel this earth here."
right.
'Cause we live out of town and we're surrounded by orchards and we have lavender and, you know, plants everywhere, and it's a really, like, tranquil space, and I felt that you deserved a little bit of a moment to to get out of your environment and just,
Yeah,
like, just
I think
be.
I did at that
Yeah,
time.
yeah, so I was grateful for you to be there, and it gave me a chance to interact with your son, and I love little ones running around, and that, warms my heart too.
And we found out that we almost bought that house.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that was, like, one of the first houses that we looked at when we were looking at houses, and we
Mhm.
ended up, for one reason or another, but we loved it because it had the standalone shop in the back and a lot of property, and
Yeah.
so now we
That
love that you
wisteria that covers the patio that's back
yeah.
there. There's a circular patio and then a gazebo, I guess, and it's covered in this huge wisteria plant that basically is the roof of that. I bring that up because a few months ago, I posted either a reel or a story or something on Instagram about it. And I had been sitting out on my patio and taking a moment and looking up through the vines of the wisteria and just feeling the sun come through it. And then I was flashed back to a memory of a vision that I had when I was on the table with Jason Underwood. And it's moments like that that I look forward to and that I patiently wait for. So the spaces that we come into when we're in a healing meditation, when we're in that theta space, sometimes people who are capable have visions in our head, and it's just our mind kind of like organizing itself. It's all of our memories and all of our trauma and our maybe even a past life or maybe even the future is coming into one little space, and we get these little blips of like
Mm.
a, and that was one of my healing sessions with Jason when I was on the table getting acupuncture. And I had this vision that I was underneath the earth, like I was warm, like in the earth, and I was looking up through a bunch of vines, and red heat was coming down from the sun, and I was like under this tree,
Uh-huh.
and I was just like cocooned. I was like in a womb is kind of
Huh.
what it felt like. I was just like warm and under there. I don't know what those things mean when I'm on the table,
Right.
right? And so then when I was in my home and I was just, embracing everything that was there, and I'm like, "Why am I here? What led me to this space?" And it's just a space of peace. And like it just and those are the types of moments that I hope other people get to have when they're on the table with us in a healing space.
Okay, so this is I want to talk about this a little bit because this is my experience, right? Where I have been really uncomfortable in my own skin, really uncomfortable in my own head, and see people like you and see people like Jason Underwood who live this very like holistic, meditative, almost seems like higher level reality, right?
Mhm.
And I go, "I want a piece of that."
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I've been at the beginning of that journey,
Mhm.
and I remember when I first met Jason, because he's my husband's best friend, they have been since high school, middle school, and I went, What are you on? How do I get a piece of it?"
Yeah.
But, being, like, clean and sober and not wanting psychedelics or anything like that. I'm like, they're like, I don't want that. So how do I tap into what good mojo vibe you are riding? And it's been a 5-year, 4-year, 5-year process now. And I have to tell you, I'm in a much further along place in my mind. Like I'm much more comfortable,
Mhm.
like with the mess that's in there.
Yeah.
And with the mess that's in here, it's not gone away, but, like, I get more comfortable with it, so I can once I'm comfortable with it, then I can detangle the mess, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
that's how it is for me.
Yeah.
So the people who are, like, out there and watching, this is why I tell this story, tell this experience is because I know people at the beginning of their journey are going, I'm never gonna be as enlightened as Jason Underwood, or I don't know if I'm ever gonna feel as, like, cocooned and as, whatever, it's just not everybody is like that. Not everybody is in this hippy dippy, and
Mhm.
I even try to contain it myself because I don't know, I don't want people to I just balance out my personalities. But it's in there, you get me in the right mood and I'll be like, "Yes, I was whatever, floating on a cloud and feeling very warm and fuzzy and talking about experience that I have in theta meditation but I don't a lot. It's very private for me.
Mhm.
But
Well, sometimes that can be a really scary space for people.
but it's a practice. It
Yeah.
is what style and it's something that you're seeking in your life, I know from personal experience that it is something that you can work towards and bring into your life. If it isn't right now,
Yeah.
you can incorporate it with a
Practice.
bit of discipline and practice.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's worth it.
Mhm.
And you and Jason and Megan are great conduits of that lesson and that message and that practice.
Yes. And we're also great examples of being normal human beings who also struggle
Yeah.
with all of these things that you're describing.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
Yeah. Uh, it's true.
Finding that moment of like it's a dreams, REM, right? You don't actually like remember any of your dreams except for the last like 8 seconds before you wake up.
Mm.
Everything that happens prior to, you're probably not going to remember. I mean, it's science that I don't have the actual data to explain, but that's about what it is. And that is really 6 to 8 seconds is really all the space that you're going to have where every chakra, every system in your body is actually in perfect harmony and perfect balance. It's that much time, but it's that powerful that it can resonate and it can follow you through the rest of your day, the rest of your week, the rest of the month.
Mhm.
But that's all it takes is just a teeny tiny little bit. And it's a lot of conscious work to get to that space.
Right.
It's difficult for me to turn off my brain.
It's different than going to a day spa and getting a massage
Mhm.
and wanting to fall asleep on a table. This is actual engagement with the process.
Yes. And that's the one thing that makes Jason very different from any acupuncturist that I've experienced.
Mhm.
Most people's experience with acupuncture is that they talk to you about what's going on. They find out the mechanism of injury or the issue that you'd like to address. Then they place you on the table. They place a few pins here, there, all along the meridians, the energy lines of your body, and then they leave.
They leave?
They leave.
Like the room?
Mhm. Not everybody. I don't wanna speak to every
Yeah.
acupuncturist here in the valley. I
Because
don't know
I've
what you
never
do,
had
but
acupuncture
those
or
are
any
my experiences
Okay.
from my right?
Yeah.
Is that they place you in the position that they want you to be in. They put the pins where they want them to be, and then they leave the room for a half hour sometimes. 15 minutes, they'll come back, they'll make an adjustment. Sometimes it's a half hour, and they'll come back, and then they'll reset and leave you again.
I'm really glad you
Mm.
told me that
Yeah,
because I would not have known that because my only experience
it's
with
Jason.
acupuncture is
And
Jason.
he doesn't do that. He does not leave the room. He's with you and he is engaging with you and he is talking you through that meditative process the
Yeah.
whole time. He doesn't have to. He has a service, it's called Just Pins, and he doesn't necessarily leave the room for that, but he doesn't talk to you the whole time.
Right.
If you're doing a traditional acupuncture session with Jason or even Om body works that doesn't involve actual pins in your body, but he works with acupressure points,
Yeah.
he's still saying, find your heartbeat, listen to that, breathe into that. He goes into his little mantra, and it's so helpful.
Yeah.
It's so helpful to have that small auditory reminder that, okay, I'm in this space. Because what my practice was with acupuncture is I would actively have to put myself in that space, which is a little bit more of a conscious effort,
Right.
which is also beneficial, which is also powerful that you are actively doing that. But not everybody has that skill and not everybody has the knowledge of how to do that. So that's what I like about Jason is that it's like, okay, like he really helps you dive deep into that
Yeah.
if you're open to it,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Meditation is all your doing. It's your effort.
That is the one thing that I know about Jason is accessing his knowledge is only limited to my ability to understand what he has.
Mhm.
Like my he is endless. He's an endless well. And I the more the more ability that I have to tap into that well, the more beneficial it is to me. But I can't I can't there's only so much I can get at one time,
Mhm.
right? Like
Mhm.
I can only ingest so much at once. but he has more than enough to give.
It's a lifetime of endeavor to learn about the body and medicine and
Mhm.
food and herbalism and crystals
And
and
astrology.
and all the things that really like w- it's it's a swirl. It's literally the astrology, right? It's literally the planets moving. It's like everything has a connection. Everything that we put in our body, everything that we surround ourselves, our environment, and the relationships that we choose to hold on to and build. It's all connected.
Mm.
And sometimes that knowledge can be like overwhelming to realize that everything affects us all the time. But what I find is learning about how astrology, for instance, learning about this the phase that the moon's in, and then understanding the people that I'm around and their astrological signs and how that might affect them. All of these things are like predictive,
I know.
right? So
But
they give
isn't
me
it
a little
so
bit of calm. I'm like,
overwhelming?
it's not. It actually for me,
Uh,
I don't know about anybody else, but for me, it's actually calming to have like a little it's like checking the weather. And that's what Jason will say. He's like, let's check the weather today.
okay, yeah.
Right? Like you can be like, okay, I can expect that when the moon is in Aries, my partner is very, very, very grumpy. And I should not engage or ask him about his feelings or his emotions because they are on high and he doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Right. And it is like to the minute.
Let's check the weather. I like that. Yeah. And I haven't really tapped in too much to what Megan Wild is up to, but I wanna know more.
I've been so happy to have her on our team, and she's like the missing piece of the trifecta that we have going on in
She
our
does more
space.
energy
Mhm.
stuff, yeah, with crystals and stones.
She does.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I have, like, dipped my pinky toe into that.
I had no idea how powerful a session with Megan was going to be until I had one.
Yeah.
And I'm not done with my series with Megan. She said, I trust the flow, right? She says that a lot in the sense that she's okay with putting the series on hold based on my life and my ability to come in and be seen. But she also really encourages people to like be in a systematic
Regimen,
regimen
yeah.
because that again, that's the kind of the clock that we're all kind of on. Like every 2 weeks on this day at this time, I'm going to dive back in.
I
I'm gonna
wish.
go back in.
I wish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need that.
Yeah. I think that you would enjoy it. And I think that it's a really good wrapping of so let's say that maybe you don't go as deep into discovery with Jason because there's a lot of touching. There's a lot of pins and
Mm,
there's a lot of like, electrical signals going on and there's a lot of things that you're still trying to organize while you're on the table sometimes. And then with Megan, she doesn't talk to you at all. She will give you a very thorough intake
yeah,
and she will like really try to figure like it's almost like she has like a laser beam of intuition that
right.
she's looking into and she's like, "Okay, let's unwrap this. Let's peel the layers back and let's find out what the core problem is of what you're dealing with and
Huh,
where does that come from?" So she really really investigates, but it's not invasive.
right.
She's just is open to you expressing what you're ready to express at the time. And then when you're on the table, she like what's I think it's called opening the portal or something to that nature where she basically like opens the energetic space for you with the use of these crystals in these places on your ankles, wrists, chest, belly, root chakra, places that are important to that practice. And then she's quiet for like a whole hour. And we listen to really deep om kind of music, very vibrant, what's the word? Very intentional frequencies,
Right.
which
I do that to try and help me sleep.
yeah. Have you ever had tuning forks? Has Jason done
Well,
tuning forks?
Jason uses
Yeah.
tuning forks,
So
yeah.
she uses those too. But that's the idea, is that tuning forks, there's no system in the body that is not affected by the frequency of sound,
Oh, you don't have to tell me that.
right?
You're talking to a sound nerd.
Woo!
Yeah.
Right? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we hear all of it. We experience all of it. System tuning forks, but that's also the music's purpose. Sometimes she uses a drum.
Well, just to that point,
Mhm.
our bodies are full of water.
Yes.
And if you ever seen the tuning forks vibrations effect on water,
Mhm.
that's how you can know that it's affecting your body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's reorganizing your cells. So, and then the magnetic pull, the electromagnetic frequency of the elements that she's using, whether it's quartz, whether it's dumortierite, whether it's sulfur, amber, amethyst, rubies, whatever it is that she's using to pull what she thinks needs to be pulled from you, those have a significant effect as well. Just the elemental value that they
Right.
hold within their structure as a mass, right? That's
Well,
really
one of
cool.
these days I'm gonna have to talk to her more about that because I find
Yeah.
it interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oy.
I find it really interesting. Gone on a few journeys.
I admittedly am a little skeptical, but I'm into it. I like it. I
Mhm.
want to experience a session with her.
Mhm.
I told you I want to do we need a circuit so
Yeah.
I can see you, Jason,
Yeah.
and her. We'll go
Yeah,
around in a
that's a
circuit.
I'm glad you brought that up. That is something that I will continue to investigate and see how that would work. 'Cause they're not my employees, right? They're independent business owners under the umbrella of Humblebee Collective, and I love working that way with these people because
Yeah.
it gives them their freedom in their schedule, in their lives, what they wanna get paid, who they wanna work with, and the only control that I have is the space that they're working in.
Yeah.
And even then, they have some what is it? Entities.
Yeah. So
Mm.
for people who don't know, you're located downtown.
Mhm.
It's not far. It's right behind the pack
Yeah.
down Second Street in that back alley.
Mhm.
What is the address?
15 2nd Street.
Oh, it is Second Street. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
15 Second Street, Humblebee Collective, and you can check them out. They're online. You got it quite
Yeah.
Instagram and Facebook
Yeah.
now
Just
going.
Google it. Just Google Humblebee Collective or Humblebee Massage or any of our names,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's easy
Well,
to find
thank you
us.
for being a part of Swap Meet. I'm
Yeah.
glad that what did you think the overall people thought of it overall?
I think that people thought that it was a good first start. I think I think that we need to try again, and I do hope that you have more participants next year. I had a lot of people asking about food, wanting more food out of it. But it's not apple blossom,
Yeah.
it's a so it is what you want it to be, Nikki. It's what you want it to be as far as how you want it to be projected. I think that I don't know. I think that it would have been cool to have more people know that there was a donation at the end. I think that more could have been donated at the end by vendors and community members. So that's something that I would love to help promote more of
Mm.
because, I'm all about giving back.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, everything was free.
Yeah.
It was free to attend. All the events were free, all the activities were free.
Mhm.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we did have, donation boxes and things around if people said, "Hey, if you had a good time, please ensure that we have this event going forward." But, that's it doesn't really matter. That to me doesn't really matter.
No.
We'll get support
Mhm.
if people want it
Mhm.
moving forward one way or the other.
Yeah.
So, it's great. We're happy.
Mhm. Yeah. I think that next year, what something that I would like to do because our little booth was so far off the beaten path, so to speak. It was at the corner, which was great. I liked that being at the end, but we were so different from what everyone else was doing. Because again, we weren't really selling anything, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Well, we put you at the end because but next, the idea is to put like-minded businesses
Yeah.
in the same areas. So, people like you who are having more
Services.
what?
Services is
Yeah,
what we were
services. Yeah.
Mhm.
And showing yes, like doing more of that and having more promotional or
Mm.
organizational or informational. They can kind of all go in one area, and then people are doing like more yard sale stuff, like resale can go in one area, and then people who are like
Yeah.
wholesalers, resellers can go in a different area.
I think that it was pretty well organized in that manner. I do think that it was, like, chunked out the way that you're describing right now, so there's no, like, criticism there. I think that next year what I would like to do is have the massage school here
Oh, cool.
participate
Yeah.
and help promote Annie and what she's doing with getting more massage therapists out here. And so maybe we'll do like a chair massage area that's a little bit more accessible to people because we're 3 individual healers and we had a sign up list for each of us and they had to kind of be picky and choosy about the time that people came in because we only had so much space to work in.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
if we had somebody there, if we had the students there who were able to help get people signed up for us, but in the meantime, while you're waiting,
Yep.
let's get some chair massage going like in the
That's
little
a
10
great
yeah,
idea.
and promote them at the same time because again, that's what I'm trying to build is a space for therapists to make their mark, I guess.
We're putting you on the planning committee. It's done.
Okay. Perfect. Sounds good.
We could use all the help we can get. No, honestly, anybody that wants to get involved and help with ideas, we're just totally ready to expand. It's going to be a lot bigger next year. We're ready for it. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna get an AC. I'm gonna get get a fan.
We
I've been
just need
on the hunt ever
that's
since. I'm
like
like,
number
"Where
one
do I
thing. We
find
need a
a
huge
USC?"
generator
Yeah.
that's going to power the whole thing. All
Yes,
right,
yes, yes.
Carmen,
Wind.
thank you so
Mhm.
much.
Mhm. You're welcome.
Everybody check out Humblebee Collective. It's Carmen Som, Megan Wild, Jason Underwood. They got a lot of different services, but honestly, check them all out. And thank you again for being a part of Swap Meet and What's Up Wenatchee and supporter of the show. And
Thank
me.
you. Absolutely.
See you soon.
Okay.
And there you have it. Thanks again to Carmen for just being such a great supporter and friend, and being so generous with her time, sitting down with me. I know she's just as busy as all of us out there, running her own business and being a mom and being a partner and trying to be a good citizen for our community as well. So I thank her for being so generous. And so check them out, see what they're about, see if it's for you. And hopefully if you got a little bit more information about it. If you missed any part of that, we do have the full interview up on the What's Up Wenatchee YouTube page. So you can go over there. It's under the interviews tab. And then you can, if you missed any part of it, just scroll through it and go back and watch it, or any of our other past live episodes are under that live tab. So you can go back and watch any of our past interviews and episodes of the What's Up Wenatchee podcast. So listen, this past week, we nope, I'm not ready. Okay. I thought maybe I was ready, but nope, not ready. And maybe I won't be ready this whole episode. We'll see. I could talk about, look, there's a scrolling banner at the bottom of the screen that has an upcoming event that we are producing. It is the Numerica Festival of Trees Christmas Karaoke Competition. So the Numerica Performing Arts Center is downtown, and they put on a year's worth of great shows, theater, musical, community events, different. They have vendor events that go in there, children's programs, all different kinds of things. So it's a nonprofit arts entertainment organization, and so all of their funds come from sponsors and people like us who support it from the community. And the Festival of Trees is their biggest fundraiser of the year, week long. And we are adding the funnest event of the Festival of Trees, the Christmas karaoke competition. So grab your friends, get them together, and register. It's $25 per group. We only have 20 spots for groups. So you get a group together and you put a performance on, a karaoke performance. So get your costumes together, get your act together, get dressed up. We prefer that it's a Christmas song because it's a Christmas karaoke competition. Then we're going to do a little dress rehearsal. On the night of the show, it will be fully produced, lights, camera, action, and you will have the stage for your performance. You'll be able to raise money ahead of time. You'll have your own, like you're doing a 5K, you'll have your own little link to raise money, and then we'll have a live text to donate and a live QR code during the event that people who are sitting in the theater, it'll be free for people to come and watch and donate. And then whichever group performs the best and raises the most money is going to win a fabulous grand prize. And we'll have that announcement of what the prize is. We're kind of nailing down all the details right now, but it's an awesome prize. You're going to want to win this prize, I guarantee you. And it all goes to a great cause, which is the New America Performing Arts Center, and you'll have some fun during the holidays. So whether it's a church group or your nonprofit group or your coworkers, whatever it might be, get together and rock around the Festival of Trees. Get registered at numericapac.org. $25 for a group, but we only have 20 spots, so get in while you can. Even before that, it is now officially October, so we're all thinking about Halloween, and Darling Productions, along with the committee to elect Mike Poyer and Wenatchee Computer, are partially sponsoring the Trick or Treat on the Ave, put together by the Wenatchee Downtown Association. So this is where they closed down Wenatchee Ave from like Palouse down to 2nd Street, and you can't drive on it, and all the different businesses and organizations come out there. We all dress up and hand out candy, and then you can come with your kids and trick or treat on the Ave. It is a awesome event, safe and fun, and Darling Productions, and I'll be there all dressed up with lights and music and, of course, candy and a photographer on hand, because we like to do that, take lots of pictures and then give them out to you guys. We'll put them on a big gallery online for you to grab those, and we say just steal our pics, because we take some pretty good pictures, and we want to have as many pictures of your kiddos all dressed up in their outfits, right? You do all that work to get them dressed. I know this now. What are they going to be? We'll ask them what they want to be. Then they change their mind. Then you get an outfit. Then they change their mind. Then you got to go get something else. And then you try and make something. And then it's like, and then are we going to do an outfit as a family? And then no. Yes, I get it. So when you finally get them all dressed up, you want as many pictures as possible. So we'll have a professional photographer on hand to snap a few pics that'll look really nice, and we'll get them up on the website so you can steal them and share them with everybody. Also, if you remember last year, the Give Miss Project is back. Now, if you were not around for the Give Miss Project last year, it starts in December, and every day in the month of December, so all 31 days, we recognize a different recipient of the community that has overcome or persevered or accomplished something. And we take nominations and we take donations from businesses and the community, handmade cards, crafts, goods, gift cards, and we make up little gift packages. And every day we recognize a recipient and we give them one of the donated gift packages. So this year we're getting prepared earlier than last year, and we'll be tabling down at Make a Difference Day, which is a nationwide project to help different organizations that are trying to make a difference. And PIBIS has a bunch of different of these organizations that have great causes that are all going to be tabling between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. at PIBIS on October 28th, which is Make a Difference Day. So Darling Productions will be down there educating people on the Giveness Project, taking donations, taking handmade cards and gifts and crafts, and also taking nominations and suggestions on people that we should be recognizing throughout the month of December for the Giveness Project. All right, just to remind you, we are hanging out here today at Earth Naturopathic. It's a clinic, a naturopathic clinic in Wenatchee, right off of Mission. It's a very cool vibe of a place. You can't really tell by where I'm sitting, but you can tell by the other camera. We're hanging out in the flower lounge. I'm sitting on a pillow, a floor pillow, which is very comfy. And in just a little bit, we're going to talk to the owner-operator of Earth Naturopathic, Dr. Terra Winston, about the clinic and their educational services, coaching, training, and how to integrate more naturopathic medicine into your life. But before we do that, I want to talk with, it just so happens that Dr. Terra, her counterpart here at the clinic is Lacy Watson, is a coach and helps her out here at the clinic. They're like a dynamic duo. And one of Lacy's other passions in life is educating and doing advocacy work in the realm of anti-sex trafficking. And I realize that that's kind of a 180, but we can't really help what calls to our heart. And this is definitely a worthy cause. And she started what's called the Flashlight Initiative, and we'll talk to her about that a little bit and why she started that. And there is an event coming up at Wenatchee High School in the auditorium this coming Tuesday to bring some awareness, some education, and to gather our community to let them know that there is some actions that can be taken to by our community to help in this realm. So, it's not something that we can say, oh, there's not anything that we can really do about it. So sitting back and not doing anything, not an option anymore. So I wanna get Lacy in here, sit down with me, and we're gonna talk about the Flashlight Initiative first, and then we'll get into the event that's happening on Tuesday. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing good.
Good.
I'm in the flower lounge.
You're in the flower lounge.
Yeah.
Welcome to our flower lounge.
You kept inviting me, and
I
then
had to bring you.
and then I made it
to our healing space.
Well, thank you.
Yes, welcome, and thank you for coming.
Yeah, I love your necklace.
Thank you. My my co-parent with my husband's ex-wife, and so she made this for me as like a bridge to.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Well, whatever works.
Co-parenting.
Yes.
Gotta do it, right?
You gotta at least try.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all kinds of worlds we live in now, right?
That's right. That's right.
Well, talk to me about the Flashlight Initiative, because I know this is something that is really important to you.
Yeah, so I started the Flashlight Initiative on a whim. I actually was I'm the Washington State Ambassador for Operation Underground Railroad volunteer section. And I used to be the Wenatchee volunteer team leader, and they dissolved that program. And so I was contacted by the director of operations, Nate Lewis, a couple months ago, or like a month ago, to help Kelly Kennedy with her anti-sex trafficking event, which is at the Wenatchee Valley High School auditorium on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. And she was having the operators come and talk as a response to The Sound of Freedom. And that movie was a depiction of Tim Ballard's decision to start fighting human trafficking, because he used to be a Department of Homeland Security person, and he would go and help rescue children, but like they weren't doing what he needed them to. Like they weren't actually rescuing the children because they're in different countries and because it's not America. So they would just leave kids. And so Tim went on this mission to rescue these two children. And that's what this movie was about. And
so I kind of saw some advertising and Facebook sharing. You know, I'm in the know. So I saw about Sound of Freedom, but I haven't seen it. Like I didn't go and see it. But just not because I wasn't like boycotting it or anything like that. Like I want to make that clear. And honestly, I just don't go to the movies.
Yeah, it's expensive, girl. It's expensive to go to the
movies. I have
movies.
a 2-year-old. Like you've seen my life. Like going to the movies just doesn't really fit in. But so thank you for kind of giving a summation of what the movie is about. I've never really heard of Tim.
Yeah, he was the
Ballard. Is that what you said? Tim Ballard.
Tim Ballard. He created Operation Underground Railroad. He's since moved on to a couple of other things that he's working on. But yeah, he created Operation Underground Railroad, and I actually got a volunteer for an event that he was a part of at the Lincoln Day dinner a couple of years ago, and I got to meet him, and he's absolutely wonderful, truly like a real world angel. Like his vibe was so good. And I actually talked to his wife for like an hour, and we had this really deep, great conversation about naturopathic medicine. And I didn't even know it was his wife until like the movie came out. Like, oh boy, that's funny. So that was cool.
So he was working for Homeland Security and then decided to go on a trek to save children that were being human trafficked.
Yeah, trafficked across seas. Some children that were taken from their families and trafficked across seas. He was just tired of the bureaucracy and people just turning a blind eye to this and just being like, oh, well, we need to move on to other things. And he prayed about it, and it was just really put on his heart that he needed to make a change. And so he started Operation Underground Railroad after this mission. You'll have to watch the movie.
Yeah, sure.
Super good. It's super good. It's a little embellished, of course, because it is a movie. But it's a really good, heartwarming. I cried the whole time. And this movie was supposed to come out in 2020, but because of bureaucracy and people that don't want this to be exposed, it was like kept secret and like kept under wraps for years until Angel Studios finally and a bunch of people finally pushed it out. So it wasn't going to come to Wenatchee, but me and a bunch of my friends bogarted the Angel Studios because you had to turn in a request for the theater. And so we bogarted them, and then I finally made a call into operation, and I was like, hey, we need this movie here, and it finally came like last minute. It was so cool. So that was really cool. And I started Flashlight Initiative because my role in Operation Underground Railroad shifted a bit, and I was just feeling like I wanted to do something more and something that can host more topics than just anti-human trafficking, because I am really passionate. I'm multi-passionate, as you can see, and I love to help with this topic, but I wanted to have a container in which we could start having these conversations about things like human trafficking, child labor, homelessness, drug and alcohol abuse, suicide. I lost my brother to suicide. It's a topic that is really near and dear to my heart, and I just want to have a place that we can come to and start to create solutions for our community, So Flashlight Initiative is just meant to be a container to hold events for people who have ideas, who want to bring them forward to the community, and we are going to help them do that. And so it was just kind of like God-led. I had just started my own business, my own little side gig for my husband and I to do. In addition to all this at the clinic, I'm a holistic health coach. I've been in integrative naturopathic medicine since 2008. I started as a work study student at the Wenatchee Valley College. I was going for medical assisting, and I went to the work study office, and Randy at the work study office said to me, I have the perfect job for you. Why don't you call this naturopathic clinic? And so I called up Alpine Valley Wellness Center, Dr. Jacqueline Thomas, and the rest is history. I worked there for 10 years, and I mentored under her and Dr. Piscopo. And then in 2017, my brother took his own life after beating stage 4 cancer. And so I had to take a step back, and I ended up re-entering medicine, and then COVID happened. So I've worked for a lot of physicians. I worked with Dr. Allegra Hart. I worked with Dr. Jessica Bridges. I worked with a lot of the different naturopathic physicians around here. I've done some collaborations with Chandra Volano in the past. I worked at the Wenatchee Natural Health Food Store. This is kind of my passion and my gig. And I used to be really unhealthy. I used to eat fast food every day. I worked at Arby's and ate Arby's every day and was eating fast food literally for every meal. And I remember doing a diet diary with Dr. Thomas, and she called me out and was like, you are eating fast food for every meal. That needs to change. You're very sick, because I had all this stuff going on. Come to find out, I have celiac disease. And so we figured all that out. I was able to change my diet and make a change, and it transformed my life. And then I went to the Integrative Institute for Nutrition after I got my medical assistant certification at Wenatchee Valley College. And I became a health coach. And my best friend had gone to the Integrative Institute. It's out of Portland. And it had changed her life, and it changed my life. And the rest is history. I was in the 30 under 35 a couple years ago.
How did you get involved with Operation Underground Railroad?
Yeah. So that's a heavy story. Well, in 2020, we were all left with a lot of time on our hands, right? Mm-hmm. So I was sitting at home in 2020, and a friend of mine, a mutual friend of ours, sent me a really horrific video. I've told you about this video. I don't think we need to talk about it here. But on Facebook, there was some pretty nasty child sexual abuse material going around on Facebook, on the regular feed. And my friend sent it to me and said, hey, this is awful. Can you trace it back? Because I know you got mad computer skills, and find out where this is coming from and help me to stop this. How can we stop this? And I'm like, okay. So I trace it back, and come to find out it's this group of people that are sharing these things. I'm talking hundreds, tens of thousands of people, like just tons of people sharing these videos and numbers and like all that horrible stuff. So we took all the information and we turned it into the FBI and to the child sexual exploitation cybersecurity people. And we turned all that in to them and the exploitation people. And we built a case. We started this group, and it was called Exposing Facebook's Predator Ring. And we would go in and we have all of our friends, tons of my poor friends. I've traumatized so many of you, and I'm so sorry. But a bunch of my friends and us, we all went in and we would find these things and we would turn them in, and nothing would get done. So these groups, they would get shut down by Facebook, and then they'd pop back up. And it just became really over encompassing and way too much. And so we shut the group down because weird stuff started happening. People's bank account information was getting stolen. My dead uncle's information his profile got duplicated. And they were trying to attack us from within. And I ended up getting threatened personally. And so we shut the whole group down, and I took all the information I had and I turned it into Project Veritas. And I don't know if you know who Project Veritas is, but Project Veritas was run by investigative journalist James O'Keefe. And they ended up taking all the information and sharing it with Dan Bongino and they at CPAC, and they wrote a story about it, but I was left anonymous. And so since then, there's been a lot of effort to get rid of that stuff on these different platforms, but it's still there, I think, unfortunately. But that's where I enter Operation Underground Railroad. I was tired. There was a night where I was on the edge of my bed crying because I'd been so traumatized and sick of everything that I'd seen. And I came to this realization, well, if the devil is real, then God must be too, because this is so evil that the counter has to be here. And I called my dad and I said, what can I do? I can't just sit idly by, but I can't expose myself to this anymore because I'm breaking inside. And I can't, And my dad said, well, have you heard of Tim Ballard in Operation Underground Railroad? He's saving children across the world, and this is exactly what they do. Why don't you check that out and volunteer? So I looked it up and checked it out, and I became a volunteer, and the rest is history. And so I just got really involved, and I want to put this out there. I've never been trafficked myself. I've been a victim of sexual abuse as a child, and that might be the driving force. But I've been shunned by family, friends, so many people, because I've decided to make this my, this is the hill I'm gonna die
Why
on.
do you think that is?
Makes them uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable topic. You don't want to think about it.
You think that's the only reason?
It's dark.
Is there a political aspect to it that people don't like?
Absolutely. I think so.
That wasn't a leading question.
No.
I honestly don't know. So that's why I'm asking.
I think so, because in 2020, because of all the election and Trump really brought to light the human trafficking issue. And he had a lot of, of things against it. And so his fight was against, a big part of his fight was against human trafficking and the cartel. It was a huge part of it. And so because of that, it became this controversial, divided issue.
Is it so been. It's like a guilty by association type deal? Okay, so we have tough conversations, right?
Yeah.
On this show, we don't shy away from tough conversations.
Right.
So I know that there are people who don't choose to engage and talk with me anymore because of guilty by association, because of my friendships or relationships with people who they believe to be Trump supporters or
whatever. Yeah, I've been called it all.
And you have been in that list of people.
Absolutely. I've been blacklisted, hardcore, super canceled.
And I've been guilty by association because of you.
Yeah.
And and this was before you and I were even associated.
Yeah.
Right. This is before we were even.
And I used to be a part of all those groups.
we would see each other at Starbucks and be like, hey, I kind of know you.
Yeah.
Because of Facebook, and that's about it.
Yeah.
But we didn't we wouldn't even really know what kind of conversation to have with one another.
For sure.
So now it's a little bit different. So now I kind of actually feel comfortable having this conversation with you, saying because I didn't know you personally.
Right.
I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't say I'm not going to get to know her or not be friends with her because
everybody has these assumptions
because of people are making assumptions that she's this
they have these
right-wing nuthead.
That I'm an alt-right nuthead.
Even if you were an alt-right nuthead, I would still give you the time of day to give you the benefit of the doubt as a person.
Absolutely.
Right?
But the hilarious thing is I used to be one of them.
Right. And so this is the thing. As I get to know you, I take you as you present yourself to me, and you're telling me that you used to be a super Libby.
Super Libby. I went to all the pussy hat marches, part of my French, all of it. I was part of it, girl. I was a part of it.
So how can somebody used to be a super Libby? And our mutual friend used to say the same thing. I used to be a super Libby. And then
and she knew that about me, and her and I used to fight.
How are you getting labeled?
Because I
is it because of this?
No. It's because I came out against the narrative in 2020 because I was a medical assistant. You have to remember that I'm a trained certified medical assistant, and I know how to read medical studies. And I came out and I simply told everybody what I thought was going on with 2020, the masks and the shots. And because I came out and I said what I believe to be true and real.
Yeah.
And what is, backing me up here. it's actually, Now
that we're 4 years divorced from the situation, is actually
I was right.
Maybe coming out to be true.
And so it's really frustrating because I called it out before. I actually told someone I was working with that we would close down 2 weeks before it happened, and they told me I was nuts because I was like ahead of the curve because I've been deep in the rabbit hole.
Yeah, that was a really,
And
was
so
a
that's why
divisive issue.
It was a divisive issue, and because I would not back down, because I felt really strongly about my wellness and not compromising my wellness and the people around me's wellness, and because I love everybody around me, and because I have been balls deep in wellness for almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
I had to call it. I had to be the Paul Revere, and people didn't like it, and I don't care, you know, and so I got canceled so hard, and so that just came as an after effect of the
All right. So, Lacy.
Yeah.
We have been talking about Underground Railroad, Operation Underground Railroad, and you off of that have just more recently started the Flashlight Initiative as more of like an umbrella container for more difficult conversations.
Yes.
So so that's been more of a natural attraction, here, because What's Up Wenatchee and the podcast network, we don't shy away from having difficult conversations. So Flashlight Initiative, I have a feeling we'll probably be doing some more stuff. And especially, we're talking about doing podcasts for exiting the medical matrix or whatever we're going to call it going in the future. And that's just, again, we talked about it's scary for people, or it's things they don't want to think about or things they don't want to talk about. And but hey, there's plenty of true crime podcasts out there that people flock to. Maybe this is now where people should be putting their attention instead of true crime.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I've been guilty of the true crime thing too.
Me too.
I mean, we used to binge watch them every night to the point where like we really understand people, but it's actually gotten to this point now for me with true crime where it actually kind of hurts my soul to watch some of it because I've been exposed to such darkness and like I've seen so much of it that I'm like, so it's like time to nourish your soul with something that's more meaningful, right? And like can actually have an impact long term. If you're going to dive into the darkness, you may as well do something that's going to impact generationally and community wise, because all the people don't think that human trafficking and like child abuse and child slavery doesn't happen in Wenatchee. They are so far off the mark, they can't even. We are in the middle of Seattle and Spokane. We are right smack in Seattle is one of the biggest trafficking hubs in the entire world. Kids get shipped off in the shipping containers over to other countries from the ports there. Like, get real. Wenatchee's right in the middle of it. And so that's why I'm like, we need to have this conversation, people, because we're also a huge
That's horrific to think about.
Yeah.
It's horrific.
It's horrific. And I hate, it's like we have to come together as community along with the Kentucky Derby thing. Cool.
All right.
All right.
What's our motto? We're getting better all the time. That was just like a little commercial break.
Rolling with it. We had to play with the flowers.
Well, you did spray me with
Manifestation mist.
manifestation spray.
Manifestation mist.
Yeah.
Yes.
It smelled like roses.
Wonderful.
But I guess people, when they listen to the radio or they watch TV now, well, mostly when they listen to the radio, they sit through like 6 or 7 minute
commercials.
Yeah. At least looking at your face and listening to some like instrumental music is probably better than listening to 6 or 7 minutes of commercials.
Of pitches, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it depends on if you're in the market to buy.
Oh, I guess so.
Because if you're wanting to spend your money and you want to hear it.
You want to hear it.
Or if it's your own pitch, then you're like,
that's true.
I
That's true.
hear my own pitch.
Yeah. I did have some audio that's actually funny because I had like a minute and a half of audio of our current mayor, Frank Kuntz.
Oh yeah.
He did an interview and he was basically endorsing Mike Poyer as the future mayor.
Yeah.
And it's like him just saying like, yep, I endorse him, and he goes for like a minute and a half, and I was gonna play it, and that almost is like a little commercial.
That would have been good.
It would have been perfect. But I didn't get
Maybe
it.
You can edit it in there.
You're right.
There you go.
I totally can because I have mad skills like that.
That's right. There you go.
Well, I thank people for being patient.
Yeah.
And as always, they stay with us through our technical difficulties, which I always think is amazing.
That is amazing.
It's so amazing that people stay with us.
Thank you, friend.
And thank you for not leaving me as well and taking pictures of me through my struggle. I appreciate that.
I like the struggle bus pictures now.
That used to be one of my radio show names. It was Nikki Darling on the struggle bus. Yeah. It's a theme of mine, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm always on the struggle bus, but
it's okay.
You never
Life
give up.
Is a struggle bus.
That's the thing.
Life is a struggle bus.
You just have to keep going. And I got a spray from the manifesting mist.
Yep.
So it was all worth it.
It's all worth it.
But I want you to tell us about the event that's coming up on Tuesday, just so we can wrap up this wonderful conversation.
Yeah, totally.
It's not really. It's a horrific issue of human sex trafficking, and it's closer to home than we think.
Yeah.
It can affect us here.
Yeah.
And that's why it is so scary for me, because I think about my 2-year-old son and I could never, ever, ever.
Exactly. So think about those poor parents that are, even if they're not in our country, but all over the world, that are missing their children right now.
So most people feel very disconnected to an issue like this.
Mm-hmm.
Human trafficking, human sex trafficking, human slavery. Yeah.
Slavery now is worse in the entire world than it ever was back in the times of anti-slavery.
That's so weird.
Isn't that wild? It is now worse. We have more slaves in the world today than we did back then.
Is that true?
It's true. It's absolutely
true.
I'll send you the link. I've done my research.
All right, we'll have another conversation.
There are 2,000 children. I think it was 2,000 children a day that go missing.
So child slavery, yeah, okay.
Human slavery, China. Don't think.
Yeah.
We'll get into this later. There's a lot of slaves in this world. And America's we're so far removed from what the rest of the
like
world
I said, we do feel a bit divorced from these issues, but they are closer than we think, and they do affect us, whether directly or indirectly.
Yeah.
If you want to know how or why or what you can do about it, there
is an event on Tuesday that answers those questions?
The Anti-Sex Trafficking event. It's the Flashlight Initiative. So Kelly Kennedy actually came up with this event. This was her response to the movie Sound of Freedom. She just wanted to do something and help. And so I got pulled into it, like I said, and I'm so glad I did, because it's going to be a really cool opportunity to talk about this subject and learn from a national response, regional response, and a local response. We're going to have even a survivor who's a survivor coming to tell her story, and I'm so proud
That's
of
crazy.
her. Yeah, it's awesome.
They live here?
Yeah, she lives here now. She lives here now. So she's gonna tell her story, and we're gonna hear from her, and then we're gonna hear from Nate Lewis, and he's from Operation Underground Railroad. We're gonna hear from Ty Holland, who is the Special Ops Director for Operation Underground Railroad. Brian Lewis, who is part of the Chelan County Sheriff's Department, and a couple other people. We even have a dog. We have a canine. I think her name is, I want to say it's Nala and Dolly, and I think that's her name. So the dog, the canine, is going to do a demonstration on how they sniff out like drives and stuff. So that'll be pretty cool.
How they sniff out what?
Drives. So like a lot of these predators have external hard drives that they keep their CSM, their CSAM, child sexual abuse material on. And so these dogs are trained to sniff out these external hard drives and like jump drives that this content is on. And so there's like a whole world that you get to learn about.
About this, because it means that you've done research and that you're like into this, and you probably know information that we should not know.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
and it's in your brain.
It is forever.
And for that, I apologize for humanity, because
God knew I could handle it, Nikki.
Yeah, I get it. But somebody from the universe should apologize.
Yeah. Well, honestly, while it's awful, it saved me in so many ways, because before I was on a dark path, and like I was practicing like witchcraft and all this stuff, and that actually took me out of that. And so there's a reason for everything, and I'm just here for the divine design, man. Like, it's terrible and it's awful, but I've done my work. And so like if you're not ready to do the work and like kind of like work on yourself, you can't handle stuff like this. And so it's like it's a hard pill to swallow, and unfortunately I've had a lot of trauma in my life, and so
isn't it beautiful when we can look back on the traumas of our life and do the work, and then use that experience to help other people?
Amen. That's a testimony. Amen. And that's why I do everything that I do, is because I've gone through it. I've gone through so many different things. I've never had to be sex trafficked, thank God, praise God. But like just knowing that it exists, you need to do something. Like, can't just stand idly by. I don't know why God put it on my heart so heavily, but I just got to help these babies. They don't have a voice. They don't have a voice.
You can handle it. That's why.
Yeah,
I ask myself that all the time with things.
Yeah, God knew that I could handle the load, and so here I am. And I've always kind of been one of those people that dance between the lines of heaven and hell. So it's kind of like, a shaman.
Welcome to the family, lady,
right. A shaman told me once that my spirit animal was a spider, because a spider goes in between dark and light so easily. And yeah, and I was like, I hate spiders, but that's okay, I guess. Like, all right, spirit animal is a spider. Yeah.
Well, thank you for hanging out with us. Again, the event is Tuesday, Wenatchee High School Auditorium at 6 o'clock. Do you have to register?
You can register on Eventbrite. You can register on Eventbrite. You can just show up. It's free.
Okay.
Yeah, just come talk. Just come listen, and at the end we'll have a panel discussion, and so people can ask their questions and give out their ideas. And we're leading into a second event to help fundraise and educate. So that's So that's where it's going to be leading. But if you have ideas, you want to share, you just want to listen, you want to meet some cool people, come on down and we will be there educating and shining a light.
Great. Again, Flashlight Initiative, Lacy, thank you. We are going to go a little bit past 2 o'clock because we had some technical issues, and we're in this really awesome space today. It's Earth Naturopathic Clinic. It is run by Dr. Terra Winston, who we're going to get on over here and chat with for a little bit before we wrap up today's show. She has a pretty interesting history that you might not be expecting from somebody who's running a naturopathic clinic. So I want to just hear a little bit about how she got to be where she is, a little bit about this flower lounge we're sitting in, and some of the, hands-on therapy available here at Earth Chiropractic. It's right on Mission Street. It's like in between 6th and 7th. It's in the 630, somewhere around there. Right in by Confluence and Mission Vista, in that little area in there. Pretty quiet, beautiful little area. And then you come in here and the vibe is even much nicer. So we'll hear a bit about her background while we're waiting for Miss Dr. Terra. I could show you some pictures. I was parent volunteer for Trenton's picture day on Trenton's picture day was the day that was the actual day my mom died. So it was like early in the morning, I got the call about my mom. And then I had to somehow get myself together and get my kid together and bring him to school and for picture day. And nobody there was the wiser. They knew after the fact. So this year I said I wanted to volunteer just to kind of as a, I don't know, take a day to be with my kid as a reminder, life is short, spend time with your kid. And I did. I got to really, and all day long we had this hat the night before, and I said, you want to practice wearing your hat because he has long hair? He goes, no hat. Practice, you want to wear your hat? No hats. No hats, mommy. All right. So I brought the hat. I had a feeling I was not going to wear the hat. So I just let his hair go down. I was like, we're not going to put it back in a ponytail. If he doesn't want to wear the hat, we'll just leave the hair down. I'm like, I didn't even get a chance to comb it. Like, he's wearing a rock t-shirt. He's doing the skater boy look this year. And he cried like the entire morning. Do you want to get your picture taken? No. You want to get your picture taken? No. You want to get your picture taken? No. First time we put him up there, now I'm volunteering, so I'm helping. Cried. Didn't want, he just wouldn't do it. Wouldn't stand on the stool. So we took him down. All the other kids go. They're just one-hit wonders. And I'm the mom in the back, doing all the funny faces, it was perfect for me. And making all the kids laugh and smile. And now my kid is the very last kid now in the class to get his picture taken. Trenton, do you want to get your picture taken? No. Trenton, do you want to get your picture taken? No. You're going to get your picture taken. Get up there now. Was not having it. Not on picture day. So he gets up there. Trenton. Now it's me behind there doing, and he's didn't want to take his picture at all. So I'm like, how am I gonna get this kid to smile? So I act like his dad, and I start making fart noises, and I'm putting my butt out, going, and he's
a 2.5-year-old boy, so of course he finds it hilarious, and he just starts giggling, and I'm doing more. I'm like, and then here we go. It was just the smile. It was like the Grinch who stole Christmas. The smile got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then she went snap. And there he is. I know it's got all the Parsons stuff on it, but my kid kicked Picture Day's butt with his bleached Sublime rock t-shirt and his total skater long hair and his little smirk. Oh, you gotta love that kid. So that's Picture Day. And I want to give a shout out to Mountain Chick Floral, who, here, I'm gonna take this off. Look at that bouquet. I went over there and got the Dark and Moody bouquet for my mom's death anniversary. I don't know what to really call it. But they did a fantastic job. And I picked it up and I started to cry. But just so pretty. And I wanted to just thank them for doing such a great job with it. Mountain Chick Floral. They're on Wenatchee Ave. Ladies.
Oh yeah, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I'm waiting on you.
Sorry.
I'm just talking away I'm just showing pictures of Trent just just to pass the time. So I want to introduce Dr. Terra Winston. This is your place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So welcome in. Thank you. And we can't actually see, but
okay.
your dog is there.
Okay. Yeah.
Your dog's name?
Chloe.
Chloe.
Yes, she's our resident therapy dog.
She's sweet.
Yes.
I have to say, I am a fan of Chloe.
Yes, everyone is a fan of Chloe. She has lots of godmothers and godfathers
Oh,
that would be willing to
that's
adopt
nice.
her. Yeah.
That's nice. So tell me a little bit about, as if I didn't know anything, what is your ideal dream for Earth Naturopathic?
What is my dream for Earth Naturopathic? That's a loaded question.
Well, that's what I do here.
Yeah.
Did she not warn you? Loaded questions.
Okay. So what we have tried to create here is really a space where people can come be. Like there's no pretense. You don't have to be any certain thing. You don't have to have any prior knowledge. You don't have to have any specific things that you're aiming towards. I do need you to have goals. Otherwise, what are we doing together?
Right.
But really, it's just like we meet you where you're at, and then we help guide you to where you want to be. And it's really about you doing the work, and we're just here to show up and fill in the gaps on where you're stuck and sort of help you navigate your path.
I think some people might have an idea about what naturopathic medicine might be, kind of over here, something over here, it's something else. So where do you even start?
So yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so my clinic is different, I would say, than even a lot of other naturopaths. So I'll just speak on my clinic and not naturopathic medicine in general. But what I really try to do is help people exit the medical system. It's teaching you how to cultivate wellness. So we actually don't even talk about disease. I don't focus on what your diagnoses are. I don't focus on, it's not that I won't acknowledge your symptoms, because those are your body's way of communicating with you and telling you that something needs attention. So I absolutely help you navigate those things. But what we're really trying to do is find weaknesses in your foundation. So do you have weaknesses on your physical plane, right? Is your diet, are you not eating the right things to actually nourish your body and repair your cells at the cellular level? Is there things in your environment that are creating toxic a toxic burden on you, right? Like, are you using a whole lot of fragrances, or do you live in an orchard where they spray you with glyphosate a couple times a year, or like, what are the environmental toxins? So that's sort of the physical plane. And then some people will actually come in and they've got their physical plane dialed in. They're eating right, they're sleeping, they're exercising, they're doing all the right things on paper, but they still have symptoms. And it's like so frustrating for them because they're like, I'm trying everything, help me. And so that's when we move out of the physical plane and we move into the emotional or the mental plane. It could be both. And we're basically trying to figure out, like, where are the blockages? Where are those limiting beliefs being held? Where are the traumas that the body is expressing that the mind's not allowed to talk about or think about? And then there's those people that are even a little bit more elevated that are like, I've done all the mind work, but it's still like something's still off. And those people are generally not so aligned spiritually with like their soul's purpose, right? Like, they're doing all the things and they're meditating and they're trying so hard, but sometimes it's a matter of actually letting go and trying less.
People, I find, are more open nowadays to mind, body, soul, right?
Yeah.
Mind, body, spirit. But is there really scientific or proof that this is the trifecta that works?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There absolutely is. So I love that you asked that question, because one of the things that I have a love-hate relationship with is science. So in the past couple of years, we've had this sort of diversion in terms of like, we've changed the definition of science, and you'll hear people say like, just trust the science. And the funny thing is, science is supposed to be ever evolving. It's supposed to be a series of questions and hypotheses that we're constantly testing and we're constantly expanding upon. And it's funny because if you go back a couple hundred years, the things that we thought we knew that were like, these are the truths, how many of those things have we realized are no longer the truth?
So true.
And so when we talk about science, it's like, what kind of science are we trusting here? Like, what are you looking for in terms of proof? Because I can tell you that I couldn't run a business telling people that, like, if you come in and we walk down this path and you do the things that I'm showing you that will work for you, if you don't get results out of that, how am I going to run a business like that? Right?
Yeah.
So for me, it's like the proof is in the pudding. And I think your question was more like, are there scientific studies? And my answer would be, sometimes there are and sometimes there aren't, because scientific studies are very, very, very expensive to run. And so who is going to put the money into those scientific studies? It's the big corporations with all the big money to spend. And the irony of that is, a lot of times when they run those studies and they don't get the results they want, let's say there's a new drug on the market that they want to promote, and they run a multi-million-dollar study to prove that this drug works, and it actually shows that the drug is dangerous and it actually has all these side effects. Do you think that study is going to get published?
No.
No, because the person that's funding that study is never going to put that out there.
It's political too. Yeah, I know.
So there's so much science that we actually don't have access to. And the thing with natural products and natural modalities and the lifestyle stuff, who's going to put the money up to study that? Who's going to fund that multi-million-dollar study, double-blinded, placebo-controlled?
So is there any regulation or overseeing entity at all?
On natural?
Yeah.
Yes. So I have a licensing board. Naturopathic medicine, every state is individually licensed. So originally, conventional medicine, the AMA was like that as well. Then they adopted something called parity. So now they sort of just acknowledge that if you're licensed in one state, you have parity in all the other states. Naturopathic medicine is not like that. So every state is licensed separately, and we each have our own governing board. But in order to get licensed in any state, in order to pass your exam, so we have an NPLEX exam that we take that's very much like the MCAT in conventional medicine. That is a national sort of licensing exam. So we have this progression we go through that's very, very similar to conventional medicine, but it's our own path. So it'd be the same as saying that like a medical doctor is going to have a different license than a chiropractor, than a massage therapist or something. So naturopaths have our own, but we are absolutely licensed. And in Washington State, we are licensed as primary care providers. So I can write prescriptions, and I can order labs, and I can do injections, and I can do all of the things that.
Oh, so yeah, so there is a doctor It is a doctor.
Yeah. So it's illegal to call yourself a
That
doctor.
question did not come out right, but
It's
you knew
okay.
what
I get
meant.
it all the time. I get it all the time. It's okay. Yes, I am a real doctor. And if I were to use that term, like it's actually illegal to use the term doctor if you're not a licensed.
Sure. Yeah. But it could have been like a PhD doctor
Totally.
or
Yes.
something other.
Yeah. No, it's a medical. Yes,
it's a medical doctor.
Yes.
Thank you. My brain is
Well,
fried right now.
Naturopathic. It's not a medical doctor. A medical doctor is an MD designation.
Okay.
We have an ND, so it's a naturopathic doctor.
Well, okay, and it's just, but I have to believe, and because I talk to people like Jason Underwood, and I know the kind of education and knowledge base that's in his brain, and just the amount of intellect that goes into knowing the body, just the body.
Mm-hmm.
But you're adding on more than that. I can imagine, like, how do you study the spirit? How do you study? Yeah. How do you study?
Yeah, absolutely.
Flower lounge.
Yeah, welcome to our flower lounge. So there's lots of different ways, but it's really about, I would say that that question is probably going to be answered differently by everybody. And the fun thing about naturopathic doctors is that we're all actually very different. Like there's a joke of like how many naturopaths, or if you asked 4 naturopaths the same question, you'd probably get 6 answers. Because we all are so different about like what we do and how we practice. And so for me, the spirit is more about like accessing your soul inside of you, like your divine truth that's coming through you. And oftentimes we suppress that because we are trying to fit into society. We tell ourselves these things that we learn as we grow up through our childhood and our adulthood, and we have things that hurt us, and people say things that we start to hold these beliefs about ourselves, like we're not worthy, or we're not pretty enough, or we're not smart enough, or we can't do the things that we really want to do, or that we feel called towards. And we limit ourselves in saying that, like, oh, I have this genetic predisposition. Like everyone in my family has a heart attack, so I'm going to have a heart attack. Everyone has diabetes, I'm going to have diabetes. Everyone's overweight, I'm going to be overweight. And it couldn't be further from the truth. It's just that at some point we have to break these generational bonds. And we can do that if we can access like your soul's divine truth. Like, where are you not actually being true to like your heart's path? Right? So I talk about the 2 paths of, you can either run away from things, right, and act out of fear, like, well, I don't want this to happen, so I'm going to run away from it and I'm going to do this thing.
Yeah.
Or we can run towards love and act from the heart and say, well, this is where I'm feeling called towards, and I'm just going to trust that if I walk towards this, it's going to work out for me.
Yeah. I talk a bit about that in my spiritual journey as well, about the innate experience of fear, and how it is very natural to have fear, and it just comes whether we want it or not, but it's what we do with it and what we learn about ourselves by experiencing it, and then what we do after.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we can either let our behaviors be ruled by that fear, where I know, at least for me, if my behaviors are being ruled by fear or driven by fear, I'm usually a terror.
It doesn't feel very good.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good for me. It doesn't feel good for other people. I'm usually hurting people. My character defects are just run riot at people. And but if I am not acting out of that fear, I'm trying to act in faith or towards love, like you're saying, towards that, whatever that love is, wherever that pull is in my heart. And that isn't always easy, because it's sometimes unknowing. Yeah. It's blind. It's scary. It's whatever. But I usually end up in a better place.
Absolutely. And that's where that trust of the spirit, like, I know that this is my divine truth. I know this is where I'm being called. I know this is where I'm not honoring myself. And then it's jumping in. It's that faith fall, that trust fall, that like the universe is going to catch me, or God is going to catch me, or whatever it is that if you know for sure that this is where my heart's being pulled, then it just becomes about walking in duality. So you can walk alongside the fear but we have to walk with the heart
Yeah.
ultimately. Like we have to have the faith that if we are acting with the heart,
Because it's not always easy.
no, it's
Yeah.
never easy.
It's never easy.
Never
okay,
easy.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was being generous.
Yeah.
Well, I enjoy that interpretation of what you do, and can you tell me about this flower lounge?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of what I do, sort of in the physical realm, but I mean, the flowers actually work on all of the 4 bodies, baby girl. She wants some camera
She wants
time.
to be a star.
Yeah. The flowers I love because they speak to all of them. So I lovingly call them therapy in a bottle because that's really what they are and what they do. They come in lots of different forms. They come in sprays and anointing oils and elixirs, and it really doesn't matter what you choose. They all work the same, but it's energetic medicine is the best way to describe it. So it's harnessing the power and the beauty and the energy that has. These is actually a very good friend of mine. Katie Hess, she's amazing. She travels the world to collect these flowers, and flower essences have been used since the dawn of time. Monks used to lick the dew off the flowers to harness their energy during long fasts and meditations and things like that. So basically, you're always going to be attracted to whatever flower you need most in the moment. And the flowers will tell you more about yourself than sometimes you even know. And it's really fun for me as I sit with somebody, either in a counseling session or just in a general clinical session, and we're talking about the things that they're struggling with. And then I ask them to pick a flower, and it reads exactly the things they just told me that they needed. Okay. And they're always kind of mind blown about it. But the idea is that if you work with a flower for a few weeks, you'll start to take on the strengths of the flower, and the flower will dissolve those blocks and those weaknesses that you were holding that sometimes you're not even actually aware of.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So how do you actually do a reading?
It's really easy. So we have flower cards. I mean, there's lots of different ways to do readings, but my favorite way is actually to just have the client pick the flower. So we have these beautiful cards, and we just say, like, which flower do you feel most drawn to right now in the moment? And we also have like a deck of cards that you can go through the whole deck, and books. I mean, there's lots of different ways to do it, but the idea is that the energy of the flower, the essence of the flower, is going to come through on the card, and you're going to be attracted to it from that picture. Okay. And then through that, we can give you a little bit more information on each flower. Like there's, we have cards that we can.
Can we do one?
Yeah, absolutely. Sure.
Is it just one card, or are they all the same? Are they all different?
So there's three sets. So this is our core, our foundations set. And this is kind of what I usually start people with. I know we're not in a counseling session or anything. No, no, this is fine. And then we have our sacred collection. So the sacred collection is sort of about I kind of think of it as the collective. So we have sacred body, sacred heart, and then sacred awareness. And they're sort of where collective consciousness. And then we have our divine collection. And this is really about kind of spirit. Are you living your truth? Are you living your legacy? I like that one. You want to do this one? I want to do that one. So pick which flower you are most drawn to. Okay. Oh, they're numbered. I see. Yes. Number 3. Okay. So number 3 is Starburst Flower. It's all about self-fulfillment. So the question is, have you been feeling underappreciated? Turn towards your own truth and self-validation. And that one is in Divine Within. So do I feel underappreciated? Is that no comment. Are you feeling seen right now? No comment. So then you would use the blend Divine Within, and Divine Within is going to have that flower in it that you chose, but it's also going to have about 6 other flowers in it. And it's all about helping you access and feel that super loving energy that's coming from within you. Everything you've ever needed or wanted is already within you, and this will help you access it. Oh, stop it. Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's so good. Send me home with 17 bottles. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're really hard to sell. I'm telling you that.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's got like 2 walls, and they have so the 3 different levels are here, and so whatever you've got to work on,
there's
then you work on it.
24 blends or 26 blends, and then there's actually going to be 3 more coming out this year. And even better, they come in chocolate.
And they come in chocolate.
I want like a low sugar, dairy free, dark chocolate that's certified metal free, that's laced with flower essences. We have
I
9
kind of
different
do.
flavors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of do. Well, this is awesome. I mean, I feel like we could have done an entire episode of just this, all your services, but we're going to do a whole podcast on it. So that's going to be great.
Yeah.
And people can learn about all of what you do. And you do come from a medical background, and this is what you choose.
Yeah.
This is how you choose to execute your wellness. And I think that's really telling because, and Lacy too, people who both come from, we have the medical knowledge, and with that know-how, we say, this is what you should be doing, for your wellness. Like, I don't know, for me, that just means something.
Yeah.
And so I want to learn more, certainly. And that's what the main philosophy is. You're really big on education and training and coaching, and alongside the implementation of this and execution into people's lives, because that's the hard part.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad you said that, because for me, it's like, yes, I have all the prescriptive rights, and a lot of people that call the clinic are like, oh, can you prescribe this medication for me? And for me, it's like, the power is in having the rights to prescribe and to order all the fancy tests and to be able to do the procedures and then choose not to use them because I actually believe that your body can heal itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's what Jason says too. He said, he calls it, his podcast is called Activating Your Innate Intelligence.
Yeah.
So he talks about using your mind to heal your body. Yeah. So yeah, same thing. Oh gosh, gotta get everybody in the same room all the same time.
Keep saying Humblebee needs to come hang out at the Flower Lounge.
Do Humblebee sessions in the Flower Lounge. Well, thank you for hosting the What's Up Wenatchee podcast. How can we find out more about your clinic?
So probably the easiest way would be to just go to our website. I'm also very active on Instagram. So it's kind of like, what do you, Instagrams probably are better. Yeah, we do have a couple, at least one free, we have a couple free Facebook groups. Yeah. So all of our stuff is just drterrawinston.com, and Terra is Terra. So it's DRTERRA Winston.com or at Dr. Terra Winston.
All right. We'll make sure we get all that information out too on our socials and our medias, and make sure that we have you back again. Yeah. Thank you again for being a part of the show and introducing me to your clinic and your dog.
Yeah, absolutely. And Chloe's now happy. She got her camera time. She's
she get her camera time. Yeah. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll have you back. All right.
Well, awesome.
There you go, Dr. Terra Winston. Once again, check her out, Earth Naturopathic. And we've been hanging out here all day. I'm just going to give you some information about a couple of things that are going on before I wrap up. I know we're going like super long today, which I love. Why not? We're going to extend the show 3 hours, maybe eventually. Election Day is November 7th, so we're just about a month away from Election Day. Ballots are going out in the mail next week and a half. So some very important election positions are up for school board, and also the mayoral election is up. The future mayor, let's see what he's been up to. I have Mike Hoyer. He was out at food truck night last week at Wenatchee Valley College. There he is with his family, and you see the food trucks there in the back. He went out to 1 Million Cups at the Wenatchee Valley Chamber of Commerce. That guy, sorry, I can't remember his name, but he is opening up the new crepe house in the Victorian Village, and he spoke at 1 Million Cups at the Chamber of Commerce, and Mike the mayor was there. Where else did Mike was at the Sal Flores at the college, and he's got some events coming out. Where is all about. He is going to be our future mayor of Wenatchee. WenatcheeValley.com is the website to check out. Mike the mayor. All right. What else do I have on here? I showed you the picture day. Oh, I want to say congratulations to Ron Evans for making the cover of Foothills magazine, the arts and entertainment issue. Look at that. One of our own kooky independent media outlets is making the front of Foothills magazine, which I am just so proud of you, Ron. Good for you, man. But hey, if you were here in the beginning of the episode today, I talked about how one of our very first instincts, even for people that we love and care about and want the best for, is sometimes to have a little bit of jealousy and envy. And I have to admit that I have felt a little bit of jealous and envy that he got this recognition, but not because I didn't want to see him get recognition. He deserves all the recognition in the world because he's hard and he's been doing this in the Valley for a really long time. And look how freaking talented he is. Like, he is really, really talented. So this is not going to do it justice, but pick up a free edition of Foothills and read about Ron Evans and the Comment magazine. And I think there's a really nice article in there about the Apple Valley Vinyl Expo too, with Joel Myrene. And very cool deal for those guys. And I'm very happy for them for getting that coverage. If you didn't know, a bigger podcast network called the Darling Podcast Network, and we help businesses, organizations, individuals produce and develop and distribute and market their own podcasts. And going into the next year, we're going to be expanding and rebranding our podcast network. And it's going to have a brand new name with a brand new website, app, and logo, the whole nine. So we have a survey that's going to be coming out with the short list of names for the new podcast network. And if you answer the survey and a few other questions regarding your preferences to how you access your podcasts or on-demand audio content or video content, then you'll get entered into a prize giveaway. And then we'll get you on into we do have an email subscription list. There'll be updates going forward on the big relaunch, and we're going to do a relaunch party. It's going to be lots of fun. And I wanted to, what was this picture? Nope, that was, yeah. I shared this picture onto Facebook, which was my mom's 40th birthday. And which is weird because I just turned 40 last month. And so it was weird that we went out to lunch. We were going out to dinner for my mom's 40th birthday. I was talking about perspective, right? Because I keep gaining perspective on my mom, even though she's been gone now for a year. Gaining perspective about her as a mom, as a parent, now that I am a parent, and like I'm getting older. And I'm like, wow, that was her. That's where she was at when she was 40. Now I'm 40. And it gives me this perspective. And I wish so much that I could share that with her. And the appreciation that I get for the things that I didn't appreciate before that she did for me as a parent and as a friend and as a mentor and things like that, that I just, I didn't realize how hard they were before until now. And I guess I wish I could tell her that. And I didn't really get the chance to tell her that. And so I miss her. But I've been listening to, and I'll just end on this. I've been listening to, or reading a book by 50 Cent, Curtis, whatever his last name, Curtis something. It's called Hustle Harder. It sounds like a book I would read. It actually sounds like a book I would write. But it's all about, he came from a bad upbringing, but he also lives a clean, sober adult and doesn't drink when he goes out to party. But he talks about not having fear and living without fear, or not without fear, but living, moving forward and progressing, and how to be like this ambitious person, still have fear and working through that to be a success. And he attributes that to losing his mom at a very young age. Like before he was 10 years old, he lost his mom. And one of the most biggest innate fears that we have as a human is losing our parent, losing our mother the most, our caregiver, right? That is the most ingrained fear in our body, in our mind, in our soul. We're talking about that. And when, as a human, that fear becomes reality and you keep moving forward, you put one foot in front of the other, you persevere, you get through it, you handle, you survive, because that's what you do when a parent dies, you survive. And then you get through to the other side, the other end, whatever that means, you are changed, but you survived it and you persevere and you move on. Then you know that the next time something comes up that you're afraid of, you can do it. Because what's the worst thing that's going to happen? The worst thing that ever could happen to you in your life has happened. It's already happened. Nothing worse is ever going to happen to you than your mother dying. So why not go for that job? Why not move cross country? Why not risk $20,000 on a large scale event that you don't know if it's going to work or not? Why not? Why fear it? What's to fear? You already went through the biggest thing that you were afraid of and you survived. So even if you fail again, you'll survive no matter what. And that has been my growth, in the past couple of weeks, going through this process of grieving my mom and realizing that I don't have to fear things moving forward. That's a choice. So, and I'm choosing to continue on with this show. And even though we have technical difficulties and equipment failure and hiccups, it's not going to stop me from getting better all the time. And we have two newer phones that we're going to put into play next week. So that will be fun. We've got some new equipment, a new mic processor. So we are getting better all the time. And I'm going to just keep moving forward. We're a fully community supported podcast, which means you support us. You help pay the bills. You help buy the new equipment. And you do that all through our Supercast community, www.supercast.com. It's low as $5 a month, but we take individual donations or subscriptions, whatever you would like, and we really do appreciate your support. So I'm going to let you guys go for today. We will be back again next week. I want to thank Dr. Terra Winston of Earth Naturopathic Clinic here for hosting us today. Lacy Watson, also of the clinic here, but of the Flashlight Initiative and Operation Underground Railroad. Carmen Som of Humblebee Collective. And Mayor Mike, the future mayor of Wenatchee, who is helping to support this podcast. And I will see all of you next week, if not sooner. Thank you all. Peace out, everybody.